So in order to publish a Gato game, to export a Gato game onto the web, oh, I really only have 10 minutes. All right, let's see if we can do this in 10 minutes. I won't go over, I promise. I have a repository. I have an example here in modules. I have a new folder called web export. I'm going to open this project and just show you what it looks like. It's really simple. This is just an empty scene that says, it's importing for the first time. It's just, this is so dumb, right? It's a control scene with a thing that says, welcome to this website, right? If you want your game to be playable in the browser without having to download anything, you need to select compatibility mode. For you guys doing the 3D game, if you do compatibility mode in 3D, you totally can do it, but you can make it look nicer in the forward plus. So if you want to do forward plus, you're just going to want to publish it as like a zip file and download it. But if you want to play it in the actual browser itself, you need to be on compatibility, okay? When I run this game, it's so advanced. This is my most advanced game I've ever made. That's it, it does that. But in order to play it in the browser, what you want to do is you go to Project and then Export. And if you haven't done it before, it's going to ask you to add some export templates. So you only have to do this the first time. We click Add, and then I'm going to click Web. And then it's going to give us a bunch of things that we need to fix in order to do this, right? So the first thing it's saying is we don't have an export template. So I'm going to click this Manage Export Templates. And this is just going to go and get the latest and greatest code that helps you convert your project into an actual exported application, right? So I'm just going to click Download and Install. It's pretty quick. And again, you only have to do this the first time you're working on the computer that you're exporting it with. Once you've downloaded it on your computer, or if you update versions, I guess. But these are the 4.3 export templates. Okay, so I did that. That's good. So then you just close this once you've installed it. Then I go back to export. And then we'll see now I have this web runnable export thing. There's no more errors, which is great. There's a bunch of sort of like fancier settings which you can mess around with, but for just a simple web project, you don't really need to mess with any of these. So I'm just going to click Export Project. Then what you want to do is make a folder. I've made a folder called Exports. I'm just going to make I did this before class, but I'm just going to make a new folder called version 2. You can call it whatever you want, but just make an empty folder that you're going to export it to. And then in particular, if you're going to upload it to itch, you want to make sure that the file name is called index.html. Index.html is sort of a standard name for any website. When you go to a website and you go to the root page, you're typically going to a file called index.html. So you just want to name your file index.html. You can leave the debug setting turned on or off. It doesn't really matter, but I guess if you want it to be more sort of performant and more performant, you can sort of turn off the debug, and then you just hit save, and it's done, right? This is a pretty short, small project, so it's already exported. So now if I go and open this folder in the file manager, you'll see that I have this exports folder and this version 2. And then here are all the files. And basically, if I upload these files, I can just put them on the internet, and this web page will run in the browser. As a matter of fact, when you create your export template, if you make sure that the, let's see, there's a setting called, I think it's called, where is it? Or maybe, oh yeah, right here, runnable, right? If runnable is turned on, then you can go up here and you'll see we notice we have this extra sort of run button. This is for like testing your game on devices. So if you have an Android phone or a VR headset or a web browser, you can sort of run it on those devices by pressing this button. To set up the other devices is a little bit more complicated, but the web browser is pretty easy. You just click here and then you just hit run in browser. And now you'll see here we are in our web browser, and it's serving the game and it's loaded it, right? And this game is now just running online locally on your web browser, right? So the final step to do this, to actually get this onto itch, is you go to itch. You're going to want to make a profile. Once you've made a profile, you have this whole little dashboard. You can go to, you have a creator's dashboard, so you just click dashboard. And then just make a new project. You can make a new project by clicking the big create new project button. Bloop. I'm going to call this SVA in web export demo. It'll give it a URL, a subdomain URL, but you can customize it if you want. You can classify it. If you want it to run in the, if you have a tabletop game, just leave this as downloadable, and these are files that you can download. But if you want it to run in the browser, just click here and click HTML. Then you can also set the price. So if you want to charge people for your work, just click paid and then set a minimum price. And you can charge $100. Please don't make me pay $100 to grade your homework. But you can absolutely do that, okay? Then the final part is you need to upload one zip file with all of these files sort of zipped together. So what that means is I'm going to go back to the file. I'm going to take this folder and right-click on it and go to compress, and it's going to compress it and make a zip file, right? Now I can go back to the browser and click upload files, and you'll see right here it says right there must be an index.html file in the zip. That's why we had to name it index.html. Now I just need to find that folder, which I believe is in web exports, and I click this zip file and I upload this zip file. And then I'm going to click this file will be played in the browser. And then you can choose how it's embedded. So it can either be embedded within the page. You can set the size of it. You can make it launch full screen in a separate page. I'll just leave it the way it is. I'll give it, though, a full screen button. I'll say, like, my cool game. And then you can give it any tags. Oh, there's this new AI disclosure, which is kind of nice. So no, this has no generative AI. Yeah, and I guess if you're going to submit your game through itch, and you're going to use AI in your project, please toggle this one way or the other. You can enable comments or a discussion board, and then you just hit, you can either set it as, before you publish it, you just need to save it once as a draft. So I hit save and view. And this is going to take me to the game. And then you can just click Run Game. And there it is, right? There's my project, my Gato project running in the browser, right? And I can click here and make it full screen, which is pretty sick because this is actually like online, right? And so this is like a secret, this is a draft version. So if you want to share it with somebody beforehand, you can use the secret URL. Otherwise, you can just click draft to go back to here, and then you can say public and save. Yeah? And the reason why this is very handy, view page, is, again, itch is like a really great place to share your work. You know what? It's 6:05, and I'll talk about this part next time, but there's basically lots of game jams on itch, right? And what we're actually going to do is I'm going to make a game jam for this class, which is just also kind of a fancy way of collecting things. But you can click on jams, and you can see like these are all these itch game jams happening literally right now. Like here's one starting tomorrow called A and B game jam. Here's the rules for it. You can just join the jam, and then you can just like submit your game to the jam, right? The way you submit it to the jam is typically, I don't even know what this is about. It's not even in a language that I speak. So maybe I shouldn't have joined it. But, you know, it's a lifestyle choice that I made. Oh, it hasn't started yet. So typically you can't submit things before they start. But let's see. Let's go back. I don't want to like troll somebody's game jam, but this one is happening right now. So if I join this jam and then submit my project, and you can just pick the one that you, like if you publish it, you can just pick it here, boop. And I've just submitted our web export demo to this game jam, and we're gonna see how we do, folks. But then this is actually like a part of the community, right? This is like, there's like a whole community page for all these jams, and you can see all everybody else's. You can see my submission, the only submission. But if other people have submitted games, you can see the games. I wonder if anyone's gonna actually play that. That's very funny. Well, we'll see how that goes. Who knows? Maybe I'll win. And sometimes there's like winners, right? And they do like sort of. This is a really great way to like actually start engaging with the independent game development community. So what I'm gonna do for this class is make a game jam that I want you to submit your projects to. And that'll be a really great way to both kind of collect it as an archival way. We can sort of have it as a reference to share the work that we made in the class, and you can share it publicly. And obviously, if you don't want to do that with your work, that's totally okay. Just talk to me about it. The default is that if you don't do that, I'll take away 5 points. But I guess if you're ethically concerned about sharing your work publicly, I might be able to negotiate that. But you should want to share. The whole point of making games is that people can play them. So I hope that you're proud enough of the work you make that you can put it on the internet. Any questions about this particular process? It's pretty straightforward. They make it pretty easy to do. So yeah, that's how you can do that component, and that's a very simple pipeline for exporting your projects to Godot, or from Godot to the web. Cool. I'll pause it there, and let's all go home. Everybody have a great